Community Energy Project is premiering its new documentary, Grassroots to the Grid, on May 29th at the Red on Salmon in Portland. The film highlights local families and advocates leading clean energy and climate action across the city. And the event includes a community resource fair at 2:30 p.m. before the film screens at 5:30 p.m. Get tickets now at cepdoc.eventbrite.com. That's cepdoc.eventbrite.com. Did you know it's now legal to pass people on bicycles in a no passing zone in Oregon, as long as they're riding at less than half the speed limit? If you're thinking of passing a bicyclist, ODOT recommends to first just be patient, wait for a good moment to pass, and then once it's clear, to move fully into the next lane and pass at 5 miles below the speed limit. And lastly, wait until you see the bicyclist in your rearview mirror before you move back over. When you take these steps to avoid crowding people on bikes, it keeps everyone safe on Oregon's roads. A message from ODOT. Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about the primary election, the governor's race, the gas tax repeal vote, and possibly the most Multnomah County judge races we've ever seen on a single ballot. Plus, we have a little food and drink tour of the Alberta Arts District. Joining me are Jake Weigler, a Portland political strategist and partner at the consulting firm Praxis, and food and drink reporter Alex Frayne. Welcome, you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me.
Thanks for having us. This is great.
So did you guys say that at the same time?
We did. We said, yeah, that was quite the...
I love that. Just so listeners know, they were holding hands at the same time when they said it.
Somehow from across town. It was really impressive.
No, before we jump into the news, I usually ask an opening question so any new listeners can get to know our guests a little better. And today's is actually based on this amazing Reddit post from about a week ago. A Redditor by the name of Corduroy Grad posted that he finally accomplished his dream of kayaking from Portland to Astoria in a single trip. And he shared his itinerary. It took him 4 days. His longest paddle day was 9 hours.
Good grief.
I know. He luckily packed enough food, water, and other provisions, but he almost got beat up by a sea lion. What fascinated
Haven't we all?
What fascinated me most about his post is that this is actually a common bucket list item for some Portlanders. Corduroy Grad said he was inspired by the others who had made the quest themselves. So it made me wonder, what is your unreasonable bucket list item? It doesn't have to be an outdoor feat, just something that maybe to the outside world seems a little pointless, but still impressive.
Mine's also aquatic.
Okay.
I've had this fantasy in my mind for a really, really long time right now, and I don't know how reasonable it is, but my life goal would be to sail from the south of France in the Mediterranean up through the Adriatic to Croatia, but specifically on like a sailing ship, like a masted real sailing ship
that has a buffet.
It could have a buffet, or it could just have like a big pit of grog and like sea tack.
Okay.
Hard tack, I mean.
This feels doable because you don't need to learn how to sail. So already you're one up. What about you, Jake?
I am also in the travel idea. Very early on in life, I planned to study Southeast Asia. So Burma has been like on my bucket list. And if you don't follow Burmese politics, there's like these narrow windows where they open up as a democracy and then the military comes in and takes it all over again. So we're back in lockdown mode. So I'm just got to like time my bucket list window for when I can actually go to the country. So we'll see.
I love that the political strategist bucket list includes political tourism in a sense.
Yeah.
You're just like, I want to check that out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But only when it's safe for me, right?
Yeah, totally. My entire life is actually a collection of unreasonable bucket list items. So I have many, but the one thing I've made the least progress on is visiting every MLB stadium. I bought like one of those leather-bound MLB passports that you can get officially stamped at stadiums, and I only have 3 stamps. No, I actually have 2 because I forgot my passport on the 3rd one.
Oh, no.
Well, thank you both for your answers. On to the news. For full transparency, Jake is currently working on a few races also on the ballot, but we are not discussing any of those races to keep things halal. And Jake, one of the biggest races on the primary ballot is the governor's race. Governor Tina Kotek is up for re-election, and she's, of course, a Democrat in a blue state. but she's actually not that popular. And I keep hearing rumblings that the Republicans might actually have a chance, but I swear I hear those rumblings like every 4 years. So who's running against her?
Yeah, I feel like there's like Republican consultants that need to make a buck. They're like, oh yeah, we could totally pick this one up. Give me a few mil and we'll make it happen.
Not to mention media that need the clicks too.
So right. This is about the clicks. So yeah, there are kind of three main candidates on the Republican side. Christine Drazen, who's currently in the state Senate. And she, if you don't remember her, ran in 22. So she's kind of, I would say honestly, the front runner just because she has that name ID. She won last time in the primary. And I think a lot of the party establishment kind of figures she's the most trusted choice. But then you also have Chris Dudley, former Portland Trailblazer and Princeton alum.
Why?
Yeah.
He went to Princeton for basketball. That's cool.
Yeah. Maybe it's Yale. It's one of those very nice schools that I couldn't get into. But anyway, so he lives in Clackamas. And you may remember, if you've been here a long time, he ran in 2010. He got really close to winning in the Republican wave election in 2010. And has offered himself as kind of more of a moderate, pro-business, less socially conservative Republican. So that'll be interesting to see if that can play. He's been kind of shifting, like on abortion, a few other issues to kind of maybe appeal to the more MAGA-oriented Republican base nowadays.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah. They have a fun time getting through that primary.
It really shows where your value is at when you're just like, I'm going to switch my fundamental values to appeal to this. Yeah.
Well, I think he did the classic, like, I would never let my family have an abortion, but, you know, I won't stop you per se. At least
gotcha.
Right away. Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting take. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm not going to impede on your rights. I'm just going to judge you. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Right? Right,
just
Megan?
going to control the women in my family's bodies. That's the only authority I have.
It's the important thing, right? As the patriarch, yeah, exactly.
So we have Christine, is it Drazen?
Christine Drazen, yep.
Chris Dudley. And who else is? Because there's one other one,
The other
right?
one's Ed Deal. Ed Deal is kind of the other big front runner. He's maybe a little less known, but he has really made a name for himself. He was in the legislature and came all in against the gas tax, which I know we're going to talk about it. I know everyone loves gas taxes. So he really led that campaign to get that on the ballot, gathering all the signatures, and that kind of gave him a springboard. Yeah. Like he built a little political movement, and now he's like, hey, let's get me elected governor. So
yeah, I mean, is that how that works?
Sometimes it's just
that
simple, right? Yeah,
okay,
I wish
cool.
it was more fancy. Yeah.
So what about, I mean, it's a primary. Is anyone on the Democratic side running against Kotek?
Oh, there's a whole cast of characters who are running. None of them,
okay.
I mean, and I say that out of love. But no one's really raised the money or gotten the endorsements. So, you know, as a consultant, I always tell people, like, if you aren't proactively communicating with voters and expecting them to like come find you, it's going to be a real tough path. So I feel like she's in pretty good shape.
Yeah, because I haven't heard about one. Like, I haven't even heard about the fringe candidates who usually do get clicks just because they're so fringe. So, wow.
They're not fringy enough, I guess, this cycle.
I guess not.
There's a lot of other races that are kind of sucking up a lot of the progressive energy right now, so to speak.
Yeah. So out of those three, the Republicans, which one, Jake, from, you know, your experience in political strategy and advising on campaigns, which one do you think has the most chance?
I think it's Drazen's race to lose. You know, her and Dudley have raised large amounts of money, but, you know, with her successfully running, with her kind of fitting more the standard of what we'd expect for a Republican candidate. I think Chris was really smart. You remember in 06 and 010, the Republicans nominated kind of more moderate Republicans to try and win that office. But their base has moved. Like, there is no moderate Republican base anymore. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, she's going to be the right fit for kind of what their voters are looking for.
You would think that the Republicans would hit somebody who's more moderate just to try to get all of the pissed off Democrats.
Oh, yeah. So I used to work on gun violence issues in the legislature, and I'd be like, this is a 80-20 issue. Like, why can't we get the bill done? Until some very smart lobbyist was like, look, the 20% you're talking about, that is the core of the Republican base. So it may not matter in a general election, but it matters a lot in these partisan primaries. And I think, you know, we're also seeing that on the left right now. There's a number of races. I know we're not going to get to it, but just the tents are shrinking on both sides, I guess is one way to put it.
So what I'm hearing is your prediction is, of course, Democratic side, Kotek, because no one's really running against her. And then for the Republican side, Christine Drazen.
Yeah, it's the rematch that none of us were, you know, holding our breaths for. So yeah.
Yeah, we're back, baby, to something terrible. So that's awesome. Let's talk about the gas tax, because that's one of the reasons Governor Kotek might be on shaky ground, is that this gas tax that was passed by the Democrats wasn't very popular. Even she herself was like, should we repeal it? Can we not? Not right now. Gas is what now? Like over $5 in the state?
Yeah.
I mean, also because of the Iran war, it's not just taxes. Like, where are we with that? It's up for a repeal. What do you think? Do you think it's going to successfully get repealed? Or do you think that this was just a lot of people who like complaining about taxes like me? And then once it comes down to it, you're just like, oh, I kind of do like roads, though.
Oh, no, I think it's going down in flames.
Oh, wow.
I think definitely going to get repealed. And there's a number of reasons for that. And I should start by saying I, as a client, have the Street Trust. They are a big advocate for biking, walking, other kinds of active transportation.
Love Street Trust, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. But I'm only speaking for myself, but I don't want anyone to accuse me of like not being transparent. So,
yeah,
I think the problem was there was a really ambitious package in the 25 session. It died. And this was kind of the fallback plan, was like, let's just keep the lights on at the State Transportation Agency. And surprise, that didn't really excite people, all the advocates that wanted all these different things and new opportunities in transportation didn't get what they wanted. And so we're just kind of ended up with this nothing burger thing that no one really wants to support. You could argue that a 6 cents increase on gas tax is nothing, right? When you see how much you've paid, how much more you're paying than you were 2 months ago. But I think that's also a tough sell to say like, oh my God, you can't afford your gas bill. What's 6 cents more? Like, I just don't think that's a compelling message to people right now. So I think there's no one really pushing for it. At a time when people are feeling really stretched, they're just like, nah, I'm not excited about this.
Alex is an interesting person to ask about this. One, he doesn't really drive. He's all about public transpo.
I actually drive a lot these days. It just took me a long time to get around to driving. Yeah, I drive more than I would like, honestly.
What do you think about this gas tax?
It's such a hard question. I tend to find that sales taxes are inherently regressive because of the way that people's income works. That 6 cents to somebody who makes $50,000 a year is a completely different number than somebody who makes $150,000 a year. But at the same time, I mean, we're looking at all these deficits all over the state, and I'm driving over potholes every single day. You also have to look at the expenses of the wear and tear on your vehicle. If you're paying extra for gas, then that also means that you're driving more, which also means that you're going to be benefiting from much better streets. And I think there's something to be kind of missed where you only see the price tag at the pump rather than seeing the price tag for getting your tires rotated more often than you would need to, or getting new tires, or getting worse mileage because you're going over these really bad roads. So I don't know. It's a really complicated issue, and I don't feel like I'm educated enough to really speak to it yet. I need to do some more research before I cast my vote.
Where do you suggest, if people wanted to read up more on like all of this, Jake, where would we send them?
Well, there's the Oregon voter pamphlet. I always say that's like the most used resource. So you should have gotten that in the mail. If not, you can go to your county website or Secretary of State website and see it there. Beyond that, like news coverage, because the truth is there hasn't really been really strong campaigns on either side. I think like I said, kind of the campaign that wants to repeal it got it on the ballot and said job done, and then switched to trying to elect Ed Deal to the governorship. And then the proponents, who like the tax, they put in some statements in that voter pamphlet, but they have not raised real money or put out a lot of campaign infrastructure. They're just kind of saying, well, we'll go through this exercise and then we'll kind of pick up the pieces and go from there.
All right. There's also, I think, vote411.org.
Like I said, local publications have voting guides this week as well. Like Willamette Week, Portland Mercury, the Oregonian all have voting guides.
Nice. Well, let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, what's up with all these Multnomah County judge races? History comes to life in Titanic, the artifact exhibition now on view at OMSI. Immerse yourself in a rare opportunity to explore the innovation, ambition, and tragedy of the Titanic while connecting personally with the people whose lives were forever changed by her voyage. With more than 100 authentic artifacts recovered from the wreck site, you'll experience an immersive gallery combining cinematic visuals and powerful audio reenactments that bring the ship's scale, beauty, and tragedy to life. There's also an optional VR tour for a deeper, more interactive exploration. Titanic, the Artifact Exhibition is on view now. Get tickets at omsi.edu. That's omsi.edu. So there are 4 competitive judge races in Multnomah County. This is kind of unusual to have this many, I keep hearing. So why should anyone care about these races? Like, what's at stake?
So yeah, I mean, if you don't know what a judge is, they sit in the court and they hear your cases.
It's the ones with the wigs, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the barristers and all that. Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, judges, particularly these district court judges, they will hear criminal cases. They will hear civil cases, civil commitment hearings, when someone is a danger to themselves, family law, foster care, you name it, like it's all going through those courts. And so I think these folks have a lot of impact on our lives, maybe in ways that we don't notice, but, and also usually they're not competitive, right? Most of the time, our judges are selected by someone steps down midterm and then the governor runs an appointment process and replaces them. And it just kind of keeps going. So this is unique that the voters actually have choices to make in terms of, of the judges. Yeah.
I'm curious a little bit about the Multnomah County Circuit Judge Adrienne Brown race, because I only know about her because of all the writings, all the things. Like, it seems like our county DA is almost running a smear campaign against her in so many words.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a few people who are going to vote for her just because she's had so many negative stories in the Oregonian. They feel bad for her, right? And I will say I cannot be neutral in this race. In transparency, I ran the other candidate in 2020 that got into the runoff with Adrienne, and Adrienne ran a hit piece on her. And so I've just always not had a good opinion of Judge Brown. So I want to be straight up about that.
Yeah.
But, it'll be interesting to see. She missed the voter pamphlet, which I said, is kind of a big deal. It's kind of the go-to resource for people. She has raised some money and is doing, I think, some online ads. Her opponents raised some money for a mailer, which I haven't seen yet. Maybe I wasn't included in that. To your point of, do people like the DA? And I think that's actually going to happen in a bunch of these races. I was doing my research before the show, and a lot of these are turning into kind of proxy battles for, are you more supportive of the prosecutors? Are you more supportive of kind of defense and social justice forces? So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. How would I figure out who I vote for? Because I know there's like 4 big county judge races, but are they by district or is it just the whole county,
It's a trick because they are all in the 4th district, which is like Multnomah County, and there are different positions. So everyone is going to appear on every ballot. Yeah. It's like its own little code.
So it makes sense why I've been seeing the races then freaking everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty unique. Occasionally we'll have an open seat like this here and there. But to have 3, and then this competitive kind of incumbent race is really unusual. And I'll also say I think they've gotten a lot more attention just because we don't have city council or Multnomah County things on our ballot, because those will all be in November because of the ranked choice system. So judges are kind of the only game in town if you're living in Portland right now. To emphasize how unusual this is, I was at the Portland Fire last night. Go Fire. That was exciting. And they had like multiple judicial campaigns out there, like passing out literature to people going into Moda Center, which was, I don't know if it's the best strategy, but it was certainly exciting to be like, wow, these guys are out doing retail politics for a judicial race. That's different.
Yeah. What endorsements are like particularly important in a race like this? Because I'm thinking the DA maybe.
So, definitely he has put his thumb on the scale in the Adrienne Brown race, but there's also a couple other races, the position 2 and position 5 races where, and I haven't really seen this in a judicial race, it's shifting much more like left-wing, right-wing, where you have one candidate that's endorsed by like the Working Families Party, the unions, a bunch of progressive forces, and then you have another candidate who's supported by the Prosecutors Association. Multnomah County Prosecutors Association has put $15,000 each into 2 different races. I've never seen them get involved in a judicial race before.
Was one of them Adrienne Brown?
No, it was the other open seats.
Okay.
Well, I think the other candidate there is a public defender, so maybe they don't like him any better, to be honest. Yeah, and a lot of the downtown development community has put in some significant cash to these races. So that, to me, is the interesting thing, is a kind of partisan flavor to what should normally be a pretty nonpartisan race.
Is anything nonpartisan these days, do you think?
Yeah, that touche.
You mentioned that the last time that you worked on these races, there was a runoff. Do you think that there's a strong possibility we're going to get a runoff with any of these races?
Yeah, I think at least a few. Position 2, there's like 5 candidates in that one, I think, 4 or 5. And then position 14, which has 4 candidates in it. And also that was one where like there isn't kind of this like prosecutors versus social justice split. It's more of like, this person's got some Portland City Council. This person's got Ron Wyden. This person's got is very apolitical. So I don't see the vote consolidating in that race as much. And yeah, if no one gets 50% plus one, then they have to go to a runoff in November. So that'll be more fun on that ballot, I guess.
Yeah. Do you have any candidates that you're just like, you should maybe check these people out? Or is that something you're able to share? I don't even know.
Well,
I mean, you're not a reporter, but I'm just curious, like what your opinion is on some of these candidates.
Yeah. Well, and I think, as I was looking at it, I was more kind of playing to play horse race, who's going to win. So, like position 2, I think Chris Bear and Laura Rowan look like to me the most likely top performers because they are putting out a lot more communication. To that point about like you have to put information into voters' hands and kind of that left-right wing split there. So that's interesting. That position 14 is really wide open. You have one who's kind of like very apolitical. She's running, Alquist is running kind of more of like I will be a solid, responsible jurist. You can trust me to deliver justice. And then Joe Hagedorn is running as kind of more the left-wing candidate. There's even like a slate card that the Working Families Party sent out, kind of connected to him. Then you have Elizabeth Savage. She's got a ton of elected officials. I've been getting a lot of texts from her. So if texts are your jam, she's definitely one to look at. And then there's Heidi Brown, who's got like Portland City councilors and has bought, I think, every ad on Willamette Week. I don't know about you guys, but every time I go to Willamette Week, it's like, hey, Heidi Brown, vote for me for judge. So those are the ones I'm kind of looking at. I have to admit, I actually had drinks with some lawyers and one of the judges this week, and I kind of asked them to like tell me who to nudge, and they're like, nope, not going to do it. Like that's for the voters to decide. So yeah.
Oh man. Well, Jake, we appreciate you coming on and breaking down the ballot a little bit deeper. I know these aren't all the races, you guys. So for sure, check out local publications. They usually have a bit more info on this stuff. Vote411.org. And yeah, please don't forget to vote. It's pretty important. Let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, Alex is taking us on a little Alberta Arts District food tour. So last week, we shared some fun places to check out in Astoria. This week, we're honing in on the Alberta Arts District. Alex, I'm sensing a pattern here. What's next? Arbor Lodge? Alameda?
I think what's next actually would probably be the Pearl or that kind of area, because right now I'm kind of taking you on a tour of the places that I am located. So while I am not recording there today, I am spending this weekend up in Northeast Portland, just off of Alberta, with 2 very lovely kitty cats that I am cat sitting for. And so whenever I'm in a different neighborhood than where I live, I try to use that as an excuse to go out and explore that neighborhood as much as possible. That's kind of what the pattern has been, is just where I've been.
Oh, I thought it was like A for Alex, A for everything else.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with it. Absolutely not.
So, all right, Alberta Arts District, it's a very popular place. I think everyone has the spots that they go to. I'm curious, Jake, do you have a favorite Alberta Arts District food spot that you're like, this is what I do when I go there?
Well, it's funny. I used to work there a decade ago. So I was doing a little resurch for the thing. I was like, Hellser's, no, that's closed. This is closed. That's closed.
Pretty different in the last 10 years.
Yeah. But I would leave at 5, and I feel like it is really a night spot. There's a lot of dinner only options, a lot of things so I missed a lot of the really cool places. I will say I really like Zilasaki. It's a very different sushi experience than anywhere else in town, and I highly recommend it.
It's also probably one of the best sake selections in town as well.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Jake, you're going to learn some new places because Alex has got some spots.
Yeah. So one of the ones I want to start with is Goomba. Goomba's been on Alberta for a while now, but it just moved locations. It used to be in this kind of awkward space where it had essentially 2 dining rooms. It had this front dining room and then this back bar area. And it was offset from the street, and it was a nice enough space. But their new space, which used to be Bon Chance, they just opened up a couple of weeks ago in this new location. Much sunnier, big open windows, a much more reasonable layout. And they've opened with a really killer happy hour. So Goomba, if you don't know, is I think they call themselves like Italian-ish or not an Italian restaurant, but it has very clear Italian influences. It's going to be mostly pastas, salads, starters, things like that. But also they sneak in kind of their own flavors and styles. Like they have a fry bread as one of their signature dishes there. And in their new spot, they've also opened up with a really killer happy hour that I recently ran into Gary the Foodie at, who's like one of the most like prolific food experts and influencers in Portland and has been for many years. And he claims it's the best happy hour in town. And it's hard to beat that. They've got like a $14 rotating pasta, which at this point is like an incredible deal.
Yes, it is.
Discounted drinks and wine, shrimp kebabs and burrata.
Jake's in. Look at his face. He's all the way in.
Yeah.
And of course, like past
I'm making my list.
Yeah, I think it ends at 5:30, I'm pretty sure. And obviously beyond happy hour, still a really great menu. Always big fan of Goomba, but that happy hour is really where it's at right now. And then I want to move a little further down the street to Mole Mole, which I would argue is one of the best Mexican restaurants in Portland, definitely one of the best Mexican food carts. And unsurprisingly, given its name, its signature item is its house-made mole. It actually has 3 different mole. It's got a more standard one that you would find at a lot of restaurants, that kind of darker, chocolatey one, but it has a really nice aromatics and spices, and they incorporate nuts into it as well. But they also have this really beautifully pink one that's flavored and colored with beets. And it's just this really, really like beautiful color. And then they also have a verde, a green one. And that one actually has pistachio and pepper and pumpkin seed in it.
Ooh,
and you can get these mole on all. It's a really expansive menu, especially for being a food cart. You know, they've got the big wall of text that has like all their burritos and enchiladas and tacos and everything. But the best way to go there, I think, is the enchilada trio, which just has all 3 of their sauces. And another unique aspect to the food cart is that if you're eating there, which it's at a plot outside of a brewery, so you've got tables and everything, you get some of the most beautiful plateware. Like these really elaborately designed china, which you would never expect at a food cart. It's got nicer plates than a lot of restaurants do. And so when you look at this like beautiful salmon and like a pink mole on this really elaborate plate, this should absolutely be something that you'd be eating at a brick and mortar. So this has a lot of charm. And it's just really, really, like I said, I would easily put in one of our top Mexican spots in Portland.
And Mole Mole, it's got several locations, right? Because I feel like there's one on Williams, or is that just one location?
Maybe there is one in Williams. Maybe you're right. Yeah, that'd be a good thing to look up, definitely. And actually, for right now, I want to jump back westernly. So I'm sticking on Alberta. There are some places up in Killingsworth that I kind of count being in the neighborhood, but just for continuity, I'm sticking just with that main street and the restaurants on it. And I want to go a little bit further west to Pasture PDX. We talked a while ago about the fact that really great sandwich spots have closed in Portland. Like my favorite one up in St. John, Chop, has closed a number of years ago.
Yeah.
But I would definitely put Pasture PDX in the top 5 Portland sandwich shops. And for that, it's primarily, all their sandwiches are really great, but their flagship is called the OG. And then they also have the COG, which is the chicken OG, COG. And they're both a bastardization of banh mi. Like you couldn't get away with calling them banh mi, but they are very banh mi inspired. And what the OG is a pastrami sandwich. It goes through a really long curing process. It goes between like 10 and 12 days, and then a surprisingly short smoking period. So normally you might smoke for like 12 hours or longer, and they smoke theirs for 8 hours. And that's to maintain a lot more of the kind of natural like sweetness of the beef. So it's going to be this kind of lighter, brighter style of pastrami. The best thing about it isn't even the pastrami. I mean, I always get the chicken banh mi when I'm there, the chicken OG, because the best part about the sandwich, in my opinion, is actually the chili oil, which is a house-made chili oil that uses Oregon hazelnuts. And it's tossed with this like cabbage slaw that goes on top, which really just adds a lot of vibrancy and crunch and textural difference to the sandwich. And the chili oil is made with, like I said, with Oregon hazelnuts, and it kind of like drips down through the whole sandwich. It's a complete mess. It's super decadent, and it's just an all-time great, in my opinion.
Nice.
And that's Pasture PDX.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I just looked it up because I was so curious about this Mole Mole.
Yes, thank you.
So there's a location in Northeast Alberta, and there's a location in North Mississippi.
Okay.
In
North
the
Mississippi
Prost, in the Prost,
Really?
little food cart. Yeah.
Really?
Just because I always see this cart and I have yet to try it, and I've been so curious. So you just convinced me. And a big reason is, Alex, is I'm a Mexican who's not a big fan of mole.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
You just described
maybe the mole verde or the mole rosa would be more your style then.
Exactly. All right. So mole pasture. What else do we have?
I want to talk about Pasar. So one of my favorite restaurants in Portland that I go to regularly is an Indonesian restaurant on East Burnside called Wajan. And Pasar opened up a little while ago. It's a sister restaurant. It's the same owner and everything. It's also Indonesian food. Wajan tends to be a little bit more street food, and Pasar tends to be like a little bit more of kind of a seated, they're both seated restaurants, but like a little bit more of like, I don't want to say like elevated, but like not quite as street foody. And there's not a lot of Indonesian food in Portland. There's gado-gado, which is sort of a Chinese-Indonesian fusion with other elements to it as well. And Pasar and Wajan feel a lot more like they're straight out of Indonesia. And their signature dish at Pasar is a dish that I'm probably going to mispronounce, but it's the lontong cap gourmet. I like to think of it kind of like an Indonesian version of like bibimbap, in that it's just like a big bowl of all sorts of really good stuff. But it's not a rice bowl. It's actually like a shrimp broth bowl. And then its main like identifying item in it are these rice cakes, these kind of like fluffy rice cakes. But it also has these really incredible fried hard-boiled eggs and like the sticky sweet chili jam, fried tempeh, green beans, Indonesian rice crackers, and Indonesian chips, like potato chips.
Is it like a soup?
It's not really a soup, but it has a broth base. But it's got so much stuff on it that it kind of transcends it being like a soup or a stew, and really is just kind of like this brothy bowl that has all these things kind of heaped up on it. And it's not a dish that you can find anywhere else in town, as far as I know. And you really can't find Indonesian flavors that much outside of these restaurants that I mentioned. And it's just like I said, Wajan's one of my favorite restaurants, but I primarily go there because it's right near me. And if I were living up in Northeast Portland, I'd probably be going to Pasar as much as I go to Wajan.
Cool. Well, you guys, I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Alex, thanks for shining the light on a few more spots, because I feel like everyone's got their like 2 or 3 places to go check out in Alberta Street.
For sure.
And I feel like you literally named all those spots I've never even stepped foot in. I've heard of or I saw, so I'm definitely going to try one of those out. But yeah, you guys, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and I appreciate hanging out with me.
It was a blast. Thanks.
Absolutely.
That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend, rate, leave us a good review, and don't forget you can support the show and get great perks like ad-free listening and invites to member-only events by becoming a CityCast Portland neighbor. Just visit membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's or Mole, because I'm going to try it. I might like mole. Who knows?